That's not a bad way to open up bass season.
Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Bass Open Season finally. It is the 8th of April here in the UK, which means we're allowed to take 2 bass per person per day at the minimum size of 42 centimeters. You can probably around 16 or 17 inches, something like that. So not massive fish, but really nice, table size. Heading out for a long swim today and going to check out some holes that I've found in previous years, previous dives. Just see if I can find any bass, because previous dives before bass season, all I found is pollock, which is great because I'm not tempted by the bass. But now they are fully open season and I've heard a few reports that there's a few about. See how we get on.
Thirsty work, some of those long swims. This looks a little cloudy, but it's been blowing easterly all week, so that's to be expected, but you could definitely use the 90 here today. Looks pretty decent.
I was searching out a new part of the reef I haven't dived before and found this epic looking structure. I tend to dive with my float anchored, so I use this floating marker made by One Shot in Greece to mark the spot and then bring my float and GPS over to take a proper mark.
That was a nice big cave. May not hold bass being so big, but there were some offshoots that probably would be all right. Anyway, nice to find a new spot using the little marker float like this. Really handy. Drop it down and then bring your float over and put it in the GPS. So got that locked away for future reference. Now, go to a spot here that generally has a few fish, pollock. I've seen bream here, also seen bass. So I'm gonna have a bit of a snoop around here. It's not really a specific hole, it's just a nice area. For some reason the fish like it. Find the face.
On my way to the bottom, I notice a bass just moving off to the top of the frame here. It wasn't completely spooked, so I thought I'd try and wait on the bottom to see if it would come back. After a while, a few pollock start showing up. Sometimes you'll get the odd bass hanging with pollock, so I was hoping I might see the one from earlier. No bass, and it was nearing the end of my dive, so I decided that pollock was coming home with me. A perfect stone shot.
As I came down on that drop, I saw a really nice bass out in the open and it sort of edged away from me. So I thought maybe if I sat on the bottom for a minute and come back, and I just sat there, waited patiently, and the bass never came back, but a nice pollock came in. So I'll take that any day of the week. Love eating pollock. Now to go try and find one of those bass. They're here.
Back down, and this conger eel was out in the open sniffing around for food. As I was looking around, I saw this nice bass just cruising, so I tried to close the gap. Another perfect stone shot and my first bass of the season.
Well, that's a nice result. First bass of the season. Just as I came down there, it was out in the open, sort of just cruising, just moving away from me, and I thought I could close the gap, and then it gave a little kick and I decided to go for the shot. That's why I like to use the 90 out here, is because sometimes you just don't know when the extra range is going to be handy. But yeah, certainly stopped it in its tracks. This next one's a spot I found last week. Looks like it didn't hold bass, but I haven't been there in bass season, so let us see.
As I was coming down to the bottom, I saw a bass flick into this labyrinth of stones. I knew it had to be around here somewhere. There it was, slinking off into another section of the rock. Bingo.
Now I've just shot a nice bass in a hole. I saw it go in, I couldn't get a shot on it, then I stuck around and managed to get a shot down through the top, but I figured instead of pulling it out, I'd leave it there and get a mark on it, because I've never seen this hole before. So I'm going to go 2 over with the float, get a mark on it, and hopefully a nice bass.
You can see my spear gun floating on the surface, which I'm using as a marker for the hole. I'm pretty sure I stoned this bass as well, so was confident it wasn't going anywhere. Just as I had suspected, completely stoned.
That's a nice fish. It's probably 2.5 kilos. Straight down through the top. I think I switched its lights out. Well, that's my bass limit done. Happy days.
I had a little bit more time with the tide, so kept exploring some new areas. Of course, this bass was safe for me with my bag limit of 2 fish already done, and as you could see, I could have easily speared it, but it's there for another day.
That is definitely what we like to see at the end of a dive. Oh, it feels better. What a day out. Only got about 2 kilometers to swim back in. It'll take me about 40 minutes. Whew. See you back on the shore. That's a pretty good way to open bass season. Whew. Long swim though.
This is the larger bass that I shot, and it is 2.1 kilograms, so I'm going to try something a little bit different and try and take some steaks out of this fish. Not something you typically do with a bass, more something you do with larger fish, but I'm going to give it a go, and the first step to that is to whip the scales off. You can either use the old school method by using the back of the knife or a spoon, or I'm going to use the Japanese method by cutting the scales off. The first thing I'm going to do is start by cutting all the fins off. And now you just start at the back, gently running your knife up under the scales, like so. And you can see they come off in a big strip like this. I'm clearly out of practice as this side is much better. Next step, going to gut this fish, and that is pretty simple. You don't need to use scissors, but I've got them here, so why not? And I'm going to eat the wings off this, so I'm going to go all the way up to the throat. Pull down from the gills, you can generally get it all out in one go. I'll throw all that out. You can easily see right here why this bass did not move much at all. Straight through the spine, a very clean kill. I'm going to start right about here at the bum hole and give it a cut through. And hopefully I get through one of the vertebrae. That's quite good there. It's a nice cross section of bass there. So work our way up a little bit, maybe about that thick could be nice. Here we have a lovely little bass cutlet. There we go. Now for the rest of this, I'm just going to whip off the wings like this. Come up here, there's a little joint that you can see. There it is. So that's also another piece that I can pan fry. And then for this last section, nice little top loin there. I'm just going to do it as if I was taking the fillets off. And just going to go follow down over the ribs. Beautiful little top loin there. There we have it, 4 nice steaks, a tail section, the eggs, 2 top loins with skin on, and the wings. Job done. Cooking these steaks is going to be super simple. I've just got some butter and cold pressed rapeseed oil in this pan. I'm going to dust them in some flour, a very thin layer, and then cook on one side until it's golden brown, flip it, cook it on the other side, and then let them rest. Just like that, very thin layer, nothing too crazy. As always, lay the steak away from you. Right, that is looking lovely. Let's flip that over. Now once they've got a bit of a crust on the other side, I'm going to add some butter in there to cool the pan back down and then get some foaming action over the top. Now you have to let it rest. It's like every other piece of meat. It would also be a crime to waste that much butter, so I've just thrown some capers in there with a little bit of lemon to make a bit of a sauce. There we have our finished plate of bass steaks with some greens and smashed potatoes. Now this is going to be absolutely delicious because it's cooked on the bone. Now, if you don't cook fish on the bone very regularly, I can tell you it tastes a lot better than just taking the fillets off. So good. I implore you to try this on the next fish that you catch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one after I finish my dinner.